Have you ever felt like people don't understand you, like they judge your silence, your peace, or the way you just don't care about drama anymore? Well, here's the truth. You're not cold, you're not weird, you're just different, you're chosen. And guess what? Narcissists, those people who always want to be in control, who always want to be the center of attention, they can't figure you out. They don't know what you are, and that scares them. Your ability to detach, to walk away without making a scene, to stay calm while everyone else is loud, it shakes them. Why? Because they can't control you. They hate that you don't react. They hate that you don't chase. They hate that you've learned how to protect your energy. But here's the best part. You're not alone. There's a whole community of people just like you, chosen ones, and we're here to grow, learn, and rise together. So if this message speaks to your heart, stick around till the end, because we're going to uncover the truth behind your detachment, your silence, and your spiritual strength. Drop a comment to say, "I'm chosen," show some love by liking and sharing this video, and hit that subscribe button if you're ready to embrace who you truly are. Let's grow together, protect our peace, and walk in our power, because they may not understand you now, but your glow-up will be loud. Let's begin. Some people always need attention. They want others to clap for them, tell them they're amazing, or agree with everything they say, even when they're wrong. These people feel powerful when others follow them. They like to control how others think, feel, and act. That's how narcissists work. They survive on approval. They want to be admired all the time, and they get scared when someone doesn't need them. But you're different. You're a chosen one. You don't chase attention. You don't change yourself just to be liked. You don't try to fit in with the crowd. You stay calm, you think for yourself, and you follow what feels right in your heart, even when no one claps for you. This is where you start to confuse them. They don't understand why you don't care about their opinion. They don't get why you don't beg for their love. They don't understand why your peace doesn't break, even when they ignore you or talk behind your back. To them, silence is weakness. But to you, silence is power. To them, attention is everything. But to you, peace is everything. They try to test you. They might give you fake compliments. They might try to make you jealous. They might even try to make you feel small, just so you'll react and give them control. But you don't. You just keep walking in your truth, calm and focused. And that's why they don't know what you are. You're not like the rest. You're not chasing approval, likes, or applause. You're grounded, you're awake. You know who you are. You know your worth doesn't depend on what others think or say. And that kind of self-control, that kind of quiet power, it terrifies them. Because no one can control someone who already feels complete. And you, chosen one, you are already whole. Not everyone wants peace. Some people love drama. They enjoy arguments, loud words, and emotional fights. They don't care about truth. They care about winning. These people feel strong when others lose control. They push buttons just to get a reaction. That's how they feel powerful. But you're not like that. You don't need to shout to be strong. You don't need to fight to be right. Because your power isn't in your voice, it's in your silence. And that silence, it speaks louder than anything you could say. When people try to start a fight and you don't respond, it makes them confused. When they expect you to yell, cry, or beg, but you stay calm and walk away, it shakes them. Because they don't understand how someone can be so still while they're so loud. That stillness, that's your superpower. It's called detachment. When you don't let chaos pull you in, they crave drama, they feed off reactions, they want you to explode, to break, to lose your cool, but instead, you give them peace. You stay centered, you stay grounded, you don't let their noise disturb your inner world. And that kind of peace, it's something they can't control, can't copy, and can't understand. That's why they get angry. That's why they keep trying to drag you into arguments. That's why they whisper behind your back, because your silence exposes something deep, their own lack of control. See, anyone can shout, anyone can talk, but not everyone can stay silent, especially when attacked. Not everyone can stay calm when the room is shaking, but you can. You're not cold, you're not weak, you're wise. You know your energy is too precious to waste on noise, so instead of fighting battles that don't matter, you walk in peace. And that silence, it becomes your shield, your message, your power. And that's why they fear you, even when you say nothing at all. Some people are easy to read. You say something mean, they get angry. You ignore them, they chase. You lie to them, they believe it. That's what narcissists look for, predictable reactions. They study your emotions, they test you. They learn what buttons to press and when, and once they figure you out, they play games with your feelings like it's a toy. But with you, it's different. They try to read you, but your face is calm. They try to trick you and chim, but your energy stays quiet. They try to control you, but nothing works. They smile to see if you'll follow. They insult you to see if you'll break. They disappear to see if you'll chase. But you don't play, you don't react, you don't move the way they expect. And that's when they start to panic. Narcissists hate what they can't understand. They can't stand mystery. They want full control. And when you stay cool, silent, and unbothered, they start to feel powerless. They wonder, why doesn't it work on you? Why aren't you reacting? Why can't I get to them? Because they're used to people who jump, cry, or beg. But you're not one of those people anymore. You've grown, you've learned, you're a chosen one. And your calmness, it's not weakness, it's strength. It's not coldness, it's protection. It's not distance, it's wisdom. You've stopped letting people pull you into their chaos. You've stopped dancing to their games. You've stepped back, watched closely, and protected your peace. And now, nothing they do seems to get through. And when a narcissist can't read you, when they can't guess your next move, when they can't twist your emotions anymore, they lose control. And when they lose control, they lose their power. So stay calm, stay unreadable, stay free. Because every time they fail to figure you out, you remind them that you're not like the rest. You're chosen. From the time you were young, maybe you noticed it. You didn't quite fit in the way others did. You didn't laugh at the same jokes, follow the same trends, or act just to be liked. And sometimes people made you feel like that was wrong, like something was off about you. But what if that feeling wasn't a mistake? What if it was your sign? You were never meant to blend in with the crowd because you were born to stand apart. You carry something different, a light, a truth, a presence that can't be copied or faked. That energy makes people notice you. Even when you say nothing, it draws attention without trying, and it makes certain people uncomfortable without you doing anything at all. See, people who wear masks, the fake ones who pretend to be kind, strong, or perfect, don't like being around someone real. Your honesty, your kindness, your calm spirit, it exposes them. It shows who they really are. Just by being yourself, you make their lies look loud. Just by walking in truth, you reveal their illusion. You don't even try to hurt them, but they feel threatened because your energy can't be controlled. You're not mean, but you're clear. You're not loud, but your presence is strong. And that's something people who live in fake worlds can't handle. When you show up as yourself, without pretending, without chasing approval, without playing games, you remind them of everything they're trying to hide. That's why some people ignore you, gossip about you, or try to make you feel small. Not because you're wrong, but because you're real. And in a world full of masks, realness is rare and sometimes scary. But here's the thing. You weren't created to dim your light to make others comfortable. You weren't built to be a copy of anyone else. You were made to stand apart, to walk your own path, to speak when it matters and stay quiet when it's wise. Your energy is here to shift things, awaken others, and break illusions, even if it makes people uneasy, even if they misunderstand you. So don't shrink. Don't try to blend in. Don't trade your truth for approval. The very thing that makes you feel different is the thing that makes you chosen. Keep being you, quietly powerful, deeply aware, and real in a world that fears the truth. Because no matter how uncomfortable it makes them, they can't stop watching. They can't stop wondering. And deep down, they know your presence is something they can't fake or control. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to be exactly what you are. Unforgettable. There's something powerful about not needing attention, yet always having it. You're not loud. You're not begging to be seen. You're not chasing approval, but still, they watch you. Eyes follow you in rooms where you say nothing. People you thought forgot about you somehow still know what you're doing. Even those who once mocked you, doubted you, or tried to break you, they can't look away now. It confuses them, it frustrates them, because the more they tried to shake you, the more you stood tall. The more they pulled away, the more peaceful you became. And now that peace, that calm detachment, it haunts them. See, you're magnetic, but not in the way people expect. Your power doesn't come from showing off or shouting to be heard. It comes from the quiet confidence that lives inside you, from the way you walk with truth, from the way you don't fold under pressure. That kind of energy is rare. And when people try to break someone like you, but you stay calm, you stay focused, you rise, it does something to them. It messes with their pride. It makes them curious. It makes them obsessed because they can't figure it out. How did you survive what they threw at you? How did you stay kind when they expected anger? How did you remain whole when they wanted to see you fall apart? They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. That deep pull toward you, your light, your strength, your peace. They hate it, but they want it. They're drawn to it, even when it burns their ego. That's the strange thing about energy like yours. Even your silence echoes. Even your distance speaks volumes. Even your letting go becomes louder than any words you could have said. And now the ones who once tried to control you, confuse you, or crush you can't stop checking your life from a distance, watching your glow, watching your growth, watching your rise. They hate you, not because you hurt them, but because they couldn't hurt you. They hate your peace because it reminds them of their chaos. They hate your strength because it reveals their weakness. They hate your detachment because it means you don't need them anymore. And yet they're still watching, still wondering, still waiting for a version of you that no longer exists. But you've moved on, quietly, powerfully, because that's what chosen ones do. They heal, they rise, and they leave behind those who once tried to dim their light. And somehow that's what makes you even more unforgettable. They whisper that you've changed, that you've become distant, cold, or not the same. They look at your quietness and call it attitude. They see your silence and call it pride. But the truth? You're not cold, you're not bitter, you're not shutting down, you're healing. What they don't understand is that your withdrawal is not a weapon, it's a shield built from everything you've been through, everything you've learned, and everything you now refuse to tolerate. You've been through storms that shook you to your core, people who took your kindness for weakness, and moments where your soul was stretched thin. And now, you're reclaiming yourself, piece by piece, and that takes silence, space, and time. You don't shout about your growth. You don't broadcast your pain. You don't explain why you don't call, text, or show up anymore, because your healing is personal, sacred, quiet. And sometimes the quiet scares people, especially the ones who used to feed off your energy, your attention, your willingness to always be there. Now that you're not giving that so freely, they feel rejected, they feel confused, and instead of asking themselves why you needed space, they paint you as the villain in their story. But what they fail to see is this: your withdrawal is your divine protection. It's your soul creating distance from what once drained you. It's God pulling you out of places that broke your spirit. It's your spirit learning how to breathe again. And when they try to twist your healing into coldness, it's only because they can't accept the version of you that no longer bends, just to keep the peace. Your silence breaks their narrative. They expected you to come back, to apologize, to fix things you didn't break. They expected the old you, the one who always gave more than they got. But that version of you is gone, and now that you're healing, protecting your peace, and no longer explaining yourself, they don't know how to deal with it. They say you've changed. And they're right. You've changed by choosing yourself. You've changed by finally setting boundaries. You've changed by walking away from the noise and choosing wholeness over chaos. And that change, it's uncomfortable for people who benefited from your brokenness. So let them talk. Let them think you're cold, because deep down, your peace, your healing, your distance, it tells the truth their lies can't cover. You're not cold, you're healing, and that healing is sacred. There comes a moment, quiet but powerful, when you stop reacting, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand. Your energy is too valuable to waste on games. You've grown, you've learned, you've seen through the tricks, the traps, the drama. And now when they poke at you, when they try to pull you into the same old cycles, you simply don't respond, not with anger, not with tears, not with explanation, just silence, calm, and peace. That's when everything changes, because the moment you stop reacting, they lose all power. You see, people who play mind games, who twist your words, who stir up chaos just to get a reaction, they survive off your energy. They want you to yell, to chase them, to defend yourself, to get upset. It gives them control, it gives them attention, it makes them feel important. But when you no longer give that reaction, when you stop entertaining their games, it's like you pulled the plug on their power source. They don't know what to do with your peace. It throws them off. They poke at you, expecting an explosion, and came and get silence. They try to guilt trip you and you stay grounded. They try to bait you and you don't bite. That calm presence of that quiet strength, it rattles them. Because now you're not playing their game anymore. You've stepped into your chosen energy. You've stopped proving yourself. You've stopped begging to be understood. You've stopped explaining things to people who only want to twist the truth. And from that place of power and from that place of peace, you glow differently, you walk differently, you speak less, but your silence says everything, and they feel it. Their tricks don't work. Their lies don't shake you. Their silence doesn't scare you. Their attention doesn't excite you, and that's what breaks them. Not your anger, not your revenge, but your detachment, your calmness, your refusal to give energy to what drains you, because you finally realized something powerful. Not every battle deserves your presence. Not every insult needs your reply. Not every person gets access to your energy. And in that realization, you stepped out of the storm and into your power. They wanted control. You gave them distance. They wanted a reaction. You gave them peace. And now they don't know how to reach you, because the version of you that used to react, that used to chase, that used to explain, no longer lives here. You've evolved. You've grown. You've chosen yourself, and they can feel it. For so long, they underestimated you. They watched from the sidelines, assuming you weren't strong enough to fight back, too quiet to make a difference. They thought your silence was weakness. They thought your calmness was a sign of fear, that you were too passive to take action. But what they didn't see, what they couldn't understand, was that your strength wasn't loud. It wasn't in your words or your outward reactions. Your strength was in your silence. It was in your ability to remain composed when others expected you to break. It was in your quiet determination to rise, no matter how many times you were knocked down. You don't need to roar to be powerful. You don't need to shout to make an impact. You don't need to fight fire with fire or scream to be heard. No, your strength comes from within, from a place so deep that no one can reach it. It's the quiet resilience that keeps you moving forward, even when others think you've stopped. It's the inner peace that remains unshaken, no matter what chaos surrounds you. You rise, and that is what terrifies them the most. It's easy to underestimate someone who doesn't show their hand. When you don't boast about your achievements or show off your progress, people assume you're not going anywhere. But the moment you begin to rise, they realize they were wrong. They didn't see you coming. Your strength is not in the noise you make, but in the quiet force that pushes you forward. You've always had the power to rise above, to break through, to heal, to succeed, but you didn't need to announce it. The way you rise without fanfare is what leaves them rattled. They thought you were silent because you had nothing to say. But the truth? You were silent because you didn't need to say anything? You let your actions speak for you? You let your journey unfold, and as it did, they saw the depth of your strength. The moment you stopped seeking approval, stopped explaining your every move, and stopped reacting to every little thing, that was when your true power emerged. You've been silently building, growing, and evolving. And now, as you rise, as you stand in your full power, they can't deny it anymore. They can't pretend they didn't see you. They can't ignore your strength. And that silent power, that quiet rising, that's what terrifies them. Because they know deep down that your quiet strength is unstoppable. And once you've begun to rise, there's no going back. They were never interested in your well-being. They never cared about your peace, your growth, or your healing. What they wanted was your energy. They wanted to drain you, to feed off your light, to take everything they could from you and leave you with nothing. Narcissists don't thrive on love or empathy, and they thrive on control, on feeding off the light of others to make themselves feel powerful. They were drawn to you not because you had something to offer them in terms of healing, but because you had an abundance of energy that they could steal for their own gain. But what they failed to realize is that your light isn't for them. Your energy wasn't meant to be exploited or drained. It wasn't meant to fuel someone else's ego or soothe their insecurities. Over time, you learned how to protect it, how to preserve it, how to make it untouchable. You began to see their manipulations, their need for constant attention, their selfishness, and as you saw it, you started to detach, not from your light, but from them. You started to understand that your light is sacred. It's not meant to be taken, it's meant to be shared with those who genuinely need it and are ready to appreciate it. What they didn't count on was your transformation. They thought they could keep draining you, keep taking from you, keep controlling your energy, but you began to change. You began to heal. You began to rebuild yourself, piece by piece, until your light became stronger than anything they could ever take. You stopped giving them access to your energy, stopped allowing them to suck the life out of you. And that's when your light became untouchable. Now they can't reach it. No matter how much they try, no matter how much they want to pull you back into their drama, your energy is no longer theirs to feed on. Your light has become a force that cannot be dimmed. It's not something they can manipulate or control anymore. Your peace, your strength, your healing, all of that radiates from you in a way that they cannot penetrate. They can't touch it, they can't break it. And the more they try, the more frustrated they become, because they realize now that you've become a force that can't be used for their benefit. The truth is, you were never meant to be someone's emotional battery. You were meant to shine, to grow, to heal, and to spread light where it's truly needed. And now, your light is untouchable. It's protected by the strength you've built, the boundaries you've set, and the love you've given yourself. They wanted to feed off your energy, but they can't anymore, because now you are the one who chooses where your light goes. For so long, you may have believed the lies that were told to you, that you were broken, that you were lost, that you were somehow less than whole. But the truth is, you were never broken. You were always evolving, always becoming, always awakening to a greater version of yourself. The times you felt lost or disconnected, they weren't signs of weakness, but moments of clarity, moments when you were being redirected. Your detachment wasn't about running away or rejecting the world. It was about finding the path that was meant for you, the one you had always been destined to walk. When people tried to pull you into their chaos, their drama, their false realities, you stepped back. And in that moment, they may have seen it as rejection. They may have tried to make you feel guilty for stepping away, for not engaging in their games, their toxicity, their distractions. But you knew better. You weren't rejecting them. You were redirecting yourself toward what truly mattered. You were redirecting yourself toward purpose, toward clarity, toward the deeper understanding that there was something more significant waiting for you. Detachment isn't about pushing people away, it's about creating space for what's meant to come into your life. It's about clearing away the distractions that once held you back, the people who drained you, the situations that confused you. Your detachment is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's the moment when you realize that you can no longer afford to waste energy on things that don't serve your higher purpose. And as you take that step back, you allow the universe, or whatever higher power you believe in, to bring you closer to the things that are truly aligned with your soul's journey. By stepping into this space of detachment, you gave yourself the chance to heal. You gave yourself the time and the peace to rediscover your true self, the version of you that was always there, but had been clouded by the noise and the confusion of other people's expectations. Your detachment wasn't a punishment, it was a redirection. A way of saying to the world, I am not lost. I am choosing myself. I am choosing what's right for me. And I'm heading in the direction that will bring me clarity, fulfillment, and purpose. Now, as you awaken to the truth of who you really are, you see how far you've come. You see how the detachment has shaped you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who no longer feels the need to explain themselves or apologize for choosing their own path. You were never broken. You were always being redirected, always being guided toward the greater good, toward the life and the purpose you were always meant to fulfill. And now, as you rise into your purpose, you'll understand that all of it, the detachment, the redirection, the awakening, was leading you to exactly where you need to be. There's something powerful about peace. When you are truly at peace with yourself, when you've learned to embrace stillness and calmness, it becomes an energy that radiates from within. And for many people, particularly those who are full of chaos and turmoil, your peace is like a mirror that reflects everything they've been hiding, the pain, the fear, the unresolved emotions they've buried deep inside. Your stillness exposes what they've been trying so hard to ignore. Narcissists, in particular, are often in a constant state of internal conflict. They build walls around themselves, creating an image of invulnerability, perfection, and control. But beneath that mask, there is pain, there is fear, there is a chaotic storm of emotions that they refuse to face. And when they encounter someone who embodies true peace, someone who isn't rattled by their drama or affected by their manipulations, it creates a sense of discomfort. Your calmness forces them to confront what they've been avoiding, their own internal chaos. Your peace is like a mirror reflecting back at them the things they've been running from. They see the stillness in you, the sense of inner peace that they can't seem to grasp. And instead of using it as an opportunity for growth, they react with hatred. They can't stand that you've found something they haven't. They can't stand that you've managed to find peace while they continue to spiral in their own turmoil. And so rather than looking inward, rather than confronting their own pain and chaos, they choose to lash out. They choose to hate. This reaction is a defense mechanism. When faced with the peace that you embody, they are forced to look at the cracks in their own facade, the lies they've told themselves, and the pain they've never addressed. But because they are not willing to do the hard work of self-reflection, healing, and change, they choose instead to project their anger and frustration onto you. They blame you for their discomfort, even though you've done nothing but exist in your truth. They hate you, not because of who you are, but because your peace exposes the parts of themselves they are unwilling to face. Your stillness is unsettling to them because it challenges everything they have tried to create, an illusion of control, of dominance, of invulnerability. When they are near you, they feel the tension between their inner turmoil and the calmness you radiate. It's as if you are holding up a mirror that reflects everything they are not, and it makes them uncomfortable. They can't handle it because they know deep down that they are not at peace with themselves. They are constantly fighting a war within, and your calmness forces them to acknowledge their own unrest. Instead of choosing the path of self-awareness and growth, many people, especially narcissists, will choose the path of hate. It's easier for them to lash out at you, to make you the enemy, than to take responsibility for their own emotions and actions. They want to drag you down into their chaos, to pull you into their world of constant conflict and drama. But because you have chosen peace, because you have created boundaries and grounded yourself in a place of inner stillness, you refuse to engage. You don't react to their anger. You don't feed into their toxicity. And that, more than anything, frustrates them. In the end, your peace is a reflection of your strength. It's a sign that you've done the work, that you've faced your own darkness and emerged with the light of understanding. Your stillness, instead of being a weakness, is your greatest weapon. It's a reminder to others that peace is not something to be feared, but something to be sought. And when others choose hate over healing, you continue to rise above, anchored in your own calmness, knowing that their anger is not a reflection of your actions, but a reflection of their own pain. There's an undeniable difference between someone who simply mimics others and someone who is deeply connected to their authentic self. In this world, many people operate from the surface level. Their actions, their words, their persona, all carefully crafted to create an image. This image is often a mask, worn to hide insecurity or a fear of being truly seen. Narcissists and others who thrive on manipulation often mimic personalities, copying the behaviors and traits of those they admire or think will get them ahead. They try to imitate the outward appearance of strength, confidence, or success, hoping it will attract attention and validation. But no matter how much they try, they can never quite capture the essence of what they are copying. They can't copy what they don't understand. You, however, are different. You don't operate from the ego, which is built on false appearances and shallow identities. You operate from your soul, from a place of deep authenticity, where your actions align with your true self. Your energy isn't about impressing others or mimicking behaviors. It's about being present in the moment, in your own body, and in your own truth. And you don't try to be something you're not. Instead, you allow yourself to simply be. This is why you are untouchable. This is why narcissists and others who live in the ego-driven world of imitation can never quite figure you out. They may try to copy you, your demeanor, your style, your energy, but it always falls short because what you embody is not something that can be replicated by mere surface-level actions. They might copy your words or your outward appearance, but they can never mimic the presence you carry. Your presence is a reflection of your soul's essence, and that's not something that can be faked. They might spend hours studying how you walk, talk, or behave, but they'll never grasp the depth of your being. They are stuck in the ego, constantly trying to control their surroundings, to create an image of themselves that others will admire. But you operate from a deeper, more powerful place, the soul, where true power lies. This is where the difference becomes clear. Narcissists mimic personalities because they have no true sense of self. They need to adopt traits from others in an attempt to fill the void inside them, constantly seeking approval and validation. They may imitate your confidence, your charm, or your presence, but it will always be shallow and hollow. They may get people's attention for a moment, but it's fleeting because it's based on an illusion. You, on the other hand, have nothing to prove. You are not concerned with how others see you because you are comfortable in your own skin. Your presence speaks for itself. Your soul is not about pretending to be something you're not. It's not about trying to control how others perceive you. Your power lies in simply being you and embodying your true self without needing external validation. And this is what makes you stand apart. While they are busy chasing images, trying to be someone they're not, you are grounded in the essence of who you truly are. They may never understand how you operate because they are still trapped in their ego-driven world of mimicry and performance. What they fail to see is that it's not enough to mimic someone's actions or behaviors. It's not enough to try to be like someone you admire. True strength, true power, and true presence come from deep within. It comes from knowing who you are at the core and living from that place. And that is something they can never replicate, no matter how hard they try. They can't copy what they don't understand, and that's what keeps you untouchable. Your authenticity, your soul-centered energy, and your ability to simply be. As you walk through life, something profound happens when you begin to awaken to your true essence. You no longer see the world through the lens of illusion, through the facades that others put up to protect themselves or manipulate their environment. You've gained the ability to see beyond the masks people wear, to perceive the energy behind their actions and words. You can sense the true nature of a person, even if they try their hardest to hide it. As a chosen one, you've developed a heightened awareness, one that allows you to see through the illusions others try so hard to create. And this, in itself, is a power that most people, particularly narcissists, can't handle. The narcissists you encounter are experts at putting on masks. They craft an image of themselves that they believe will make them appear desirable, powerful, or in control. But you, with your spiritual clarity, can see straight through those illusions. You don't buy into their stories, their facades, or the persona they present to the world. You see the truth behind their carefully constructed image. You see the fear, the insecurity, the need for validation, and the lack of authenticity. You see through their manipulative tactics, their gaslighting, and their constant need to control others. And this is where the real discomfort begins for narcissists. They thrive on control, on maintaining the illusion of power, and on manipulating others into believing their version of reality. But when they encounter someone who sees through those illusions, it makes them feel profoundly unsafe. They don't know how to operate in a world where their masks no longer work. They are no longer able to hide behind their manipulation or charm because you can discern the truth of their intentions. Your awareness exposes them, and that exposure makes them uncomfortable. So much so that they often react with hostility or disdain. Your ability to see through illusions isn't just about observing the surface-level behaviors of others. It's about understanding the deeper, spiritual currents that influence those behaviors. You don't just see what they do, you understand why they do it. You recognize the underlying fear or pain that drives their actions, and this awareness gives you a powerful advantage. Narcissists are afraid of being exposed because their entire identity is based on an illusion of superiority. If that illusion crumbles, so does their sense of self-worth. That's why they feel so threatened by you. Your ability to discern the truth behind their mask is a mirror that forces them to confront their own insecurities, something they are desperately trying to avoid. They want to control the narrative, to keep others blind to their true nature, but with you, that control is slipping away. They can no longer manipulate you with their charm, their lies, or their calculated actions. You're no longer fooled by their tactics. You see the darkness in their soul, the manipulation behind their smiles, the insecurity hidden behind their arrogance, and because of that, they can't feel safe around you. Your awareness makes them feel exposed, vulnerable, and ultimately powerless. As a chosen one, you've developed the ability to discern not just the surface-level behavior of others, but the spiritual essence behind their actions. This ability is not something everyone possesses. It's a gift, a power that allows you to navigate through the world with clarity and discernment. You see things as they truly are, not as they appear. And for narcissists who rely on deception and manipulation, that is a terrifying realization, because they know that when you see through their illusions, they can no longer control the narrative. They can no longer hide behind their false personas. In the presence of your awareness, they are exposed for who they truly are, and that makes them feel unsafe. Your power lies in your ability to see beyond the illusion, and it's this power that makes you untouchable. You are no longer deceived by the world's distractions, and because of that you remain free, while they are bound by the illusions they've created. There's a powerful misconception about detachment, especially when it comes to narcissists and people who thrive on control. They believe that detachment is a sign of weakness, a form of emotional withdrawal that they can manipulate, exploit, or eventually break down. For them, detachment is often seen as a crack in the armor, something that they can use to their advantage. They think that if they push hard enough, if they create enough chaos, you'll eventually cave in, react, or seek validation from them. But what they fail to realize is that your detachment isn't weakness, it's your strength, and it's precisely this strength that renders them powerless. When you detach emotionally, you create a boundary that prevents others from affecting you. For narcissists who thrive on manipulating others' emotions and reactions, your emotional distance is a direct challenge to their control. They expect you to react, to get upset, or to crave their approval. When you don't, they are left scrambling to understand why their usual tactics aren't working. They don't understand how someone could remain unaffected by their provocations, their gaslighting, or their attempts to control. At first, they may think you're just being stubborn or playing hard to get. They might believe that your detachment is temporary, only that it's just a phase you'll eventually grow out of. They try to escalate their behavior, believing that if they turn up the heat, you'll crack. But as time goes on, they begin to realize that their usual methods don't work on you. You don't give them the emotional reaction they crave. You don't get angry, you don't beg for their attention, and you don't feed into their drama. In fact, the more they try, the more your calmness grows. And that's when the truth begins to sink in for them. Your detachment isn't weakness at all. It's a shield, and it's impenetrable. This realization is deeply unsettling for narcissists because they live in a world where control is everything. They need to control the narrative, the emotions, and the reactions of those around them to maintain their sense of superiority and power. If they can't manipulate you, if they can't provoke a reaction from you, they lose their grip. They realize that they no longer hold the power to make you feel small, inferior, or dependent on their approval. This is when their illusion of control starts to shatter. Narcissists, by nature, rely on causing emotional turbulence in others. They thrive on drama, chaos, and emotional dependency because it gives them a sense of power. When they manipulate someone into reacting to their behavior, they feel validated and in control. However, when you refuse to engage with their emotional manipulation, when you remain calm and detached, it strips them of the very power they thrive on. They are left standing there, bewildered and powerless, with nothing to latch onto. The truth is, detachment is one of the most powerful tools you can wield against a narcissist. It's not about ignoring the situation or running away from it.